And a very good morning, Mark here. It is Tuesday, December the 9th, 7:45 a.m. Eastern, 12:45 p.m. GMT. US session about to get underway and going into the afternoon portion of the European session. Let's have a look and see how the markets are shaping up, starting on the US dollar index. And you can see that the sideways activity, which we've seen for the past 5 days, pretty much still intact. I've got support at 98.58 and I've got resistance at 98.78. Sellers did try earlier. You can see the wick left behind, and now you can see the body and activity right sitting at that resistance level. Buyers will look to test, break above this resistance level through the US session, or now that US session is getting underway. If there's a turnaround to weak US dollars, sellers will look to bounce down off this strong resistance level and look back down at the support level. Let's have a look at the S&P, bearing in mind that we are a good hour and a half away from Wall Street opening up. You look at the futures market. Yesterday we saw a sell-off in the S&P. Today a gap lower to start, and then sellers did step in first, fighting back that a little bit. You can see the wickets left behind. I've got support at 6,847 and I've got resistance at 6,870. We'll see once the US session and Wall Street gets underway whether buyers can fight back, recoup yesterday's losses, and look to break higher and come up and test that 6,900 level, or if we're going to see a continuation of weakness in the US equity markets. We saw it across all three of the major stock markets yesterday, and whether sellers come and test this support, which has been strong as well, at 6,847. Gold. Gold certainly seems content hanging around that 4,200 level. Just have a look over the past 7 days how price activity has remained and been contained within this narrow range. Not really neither buyers nor sellers able to break, put in a move in either direction. I've got support at 4,171. I've got resistance at 4,213. Between a 30 and a 40 pip range is pretty much what we have been seeing. Buyers will look to test and break above this 4,200, 213, look back up at the 4,300 if we see strong gold. Alternatively, if we see gold being sold off, weak gold, sellers will try and break below this 4,171. But certainly is laying low, and we haven't seen much over the past week. In all probability, as we're seeing in all the markets, this sideways and limited activity. Traders waiting on tomorrow's Fed announcement, which is 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. GMT, where the Fed is expected to cut rates by another 25 basis points, but we'll wait and see how that plays out. Let's have a look at oil. Brent oil up, sold off yesterday, all the way down to the support at 62.25, a support that has held strong for over a week now. Going on 2 weeks, sellers haven't been able to close below this support. Tested yesterday, the area tested again this morning, but you can see buyers have bounced up off the support level. So I've got support at 62.25, got resistance at 62.77. Overall, the dailies do still show an uptrend. You can see the EMAs, leading indicator, still above the lagging indicator, but the bias does look down to me. And certainly if we scroll out it all and take a step back and look at the bigger picture, bias is down. Yes, from the big drop off we saw in October, it has leveled out, but certainly not seeing much demand for oil at this point. Let's have a look at Bitcoin. And again, like we've seen on so many of the major assets we're going through, we are seeing a tentative market. We're seeing sideways activity, and we're certainly seeing it on Bitcoin as well. I've got support at 89,500, and I have resistance at 90.8 thousand. That's just over $1,000 range, really tight for Bitcoin. EMA is pretty flat and running parallel to each other. Buyers will look above the 90,000, look to break above the 92,000 um, in order to establish or re-establish some kind of meaningful uptrend, looking at around the 94,000 as the first real target. Sellers looking for continuation of the very strong downtrend which we had through October and November, will look to break below the 90,000, below the 89,500 support, looking back down at the low 80,000 area. Good trading, keep that discipline, and I will see you at the end of day session.